Giving me Wrinkle in Time vibes. Like, you know, where you have this amazing cast and they're really great actors and you're like,
Don't you
wow.
dare equate this thing to Wrinkle in Time. It's
I
nowhere
didn't
near
say
this.
it was. I didn't.
Welcome back to Eye to Eye, the place where we talk about anything and everything Disney. My name is Kyle.
And my name is Jessica. And before we get started tonight, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content.
For this video, we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of The Eternals, or just Eternals, not The Eternals. Eternals.
I know. I always want to say The Eternals too. It's very
There
confusing.
are no articles in this
It's
review
just
here.
Eternals.
Spoiler-free, article-free. There's lots of free in a spoiler-free review for an MCU film. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. So fear not if you are here and you are like, I haven't seen it yet. You don't have to worry about it because we're not going to talk about, well, I'm going to not talk about it. Jessica may spoil some things for
Kyle will
you.
cut it out if I spoil anything.
I'll try to remember to cut those things out for you. But the way we typically do this is we give you 3 reasons to watch the film, and it gives us an opportunity to share some of our thoughts about it without actually spoiling anything for you. We'll also give you at least one reason you may not like it, and then we'll give you a rewatchability fact, like scale. We'll rate it 1 through 5 and what we think about it. So I know there's a lot of confusion, and I know there's a lot of probably opinions from
I'm
certain
confused.
people here. You know what? You just get this thing started off right here with the first reason to watch. this
So,
film?
okay. I know we talk about stuff a lot.
Yes.
And just here's a little spoiler about me. Personally, not about this movie, just me. I'm not a big movie fan. I know that's kind of hearsay.
That's such a lie. That's
No,
a lie
I'm
in
not a
all
big
facets.
movie fan. I like TV shows. I like things that are really plot
You like
driven
episodic things.
Exactly, where you can get the backstory on stuff. So, movies are not necessarily my forte anyway. But secondly, Marvel movies are definitely not. So don't let that skew you. If you are a big Marvel movie fan, don't listen to my opinion. Honestly, I'm just saying that because I know we are not the same in what we like to watch.
Right.
So, one of the
Here
good
it
things,
comes.
though, one of the good things about this movie, though, that I enjoyed was the landscapes,
The spectacle of it all.
Spectacle of it all, as Kyle would say. Just the scenery.
The
Truly.
visuals.
I
all that
like
stuff.
seeing, I kind of had little flashbacks of like, at one point it felt like we were in Star Wars and felt like we were on Tatooine with
Right.
all the dust and everything. And then like 2 seconds later, it feels kind of like you're in Harry Potter world. And then you're back in Marvel. And then it felt a little bit like Endgame. You know that big scene in Endgame where
not
they're
where I
in
thought she
that
was
big like field and everybody's just running at each other?
Yeah.
Kind of felt like that in Eternals. So there were like all of these nostalgic pieces for me that probably are not relevant to the film. But like at one point, remember we're in the cabins in the woods.
Well, you gotta
and I'm
find
like,
reasons to
oh,
latch
well.
onto it, you know? You gotta
So
find
I mean,
things
but
to-
it was beautiful. Like some of the scenes were truly just really enjoyable to look at, visually
Right.
appealing. You'd go from these really dark scenes to then one scene later, it would be really bright and airy and outdoorsy again, and then you're back into a water scene. So that part was was very interesting and entertaining.
Well, to jump off of that too, I think like the powers, how they showed them manifesting themselves, whether it was Thena's, you know, weapon manipulation or Icarus's eyes and things like that, or even when they suited up, you know, everybody's got to have a suit up moment in this thing. That kind of visualization was just really cool to watch. And then you throw in kind of bring into life what the Celestials are, what they look like, what they're supposed to be actually.
To be quite fair, I'm still confused.
Yes, but we're talking about the visuals. We're not talking about the confusing nature. But like when he like made the you know, this isn't revealing, showing what he was making. I shouldn't go too far with that. That was like really cool stuff that'll really grab your eye and kind of makes you want to come back and watch it again. Well, we're not talking about rewatchability factors just yet, but just to go back and see that again to see what you missed in it. The visuals of this are really, really good. For me, this, you know, I'm a not folklore, but yeah, I guess you could throw folklore in this as well, but like building on a world.
Yep.
That's me. This is chock full of it, almost too much, to be honest with you. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but they went heavy on the backstory for not just MCU, But they tried to weave what we know as human history into it as already, because, you know, the story behind all of this is that the Eternals are basically representations of our folklore heroes, like Gilgamesh. And, you know, I think Hermes is supposed to be what came out of Makari, the speedster, and things like that. You know, just, I like all of that stuff, but I also like a lot of them going in and explaining this whole celestial idea, because this goes back to like Star-Lord, remember, because his dad was a celestial.
I didn't remember that till we were driving home and you said that, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about Star-Lord's
so
dad.
What you just saw, the guys that were giant in this thing and like look like super like robotic aliens and all this stuff, that's kind of the genes that are carried within Star-Lord. So to expand that out, that got really cool for me, and I really like that. Again, almost too much.
I was gonna say, an alternate perspective is, just for me, I'm not a big, obviously not a big sci-fi person. I don't understand this world building extra stuff. My brain just doesn't comprehend that. I wish it did, because I think, you know, I could understand things like Lord of the Rings and, you know, probably Dune, the new series or movie that came out, and, you know, all of those things, the really great book series that I want to get into, and I just can't, because I can't get into that sci-fi world building.
It's not even sci-fi,
stuff.
but it's
it is sci-fi.
It's a lot to invest in. It's a lot to kind of keep up with.
But also like powers and stuff, that's super sci-fi. And trying to remember, okay, this person has this power because they're a celestial, and that means they're attached to Star-Lord, and Star-Lord is in this movie, and then this is in this movie, and then these people are attacked by this red guy, and then this red guy is not in any of the other movies. Like,
so if you like connections and if you like backstory, this is chock full.
And if you have
a
great memory.
Yes. Well, you know, I think that even was put to the test for me a little bit on this one. But that's one of the things I love. So last, I think the reason that we both agree on is the all-star cast.
Yeah, and I think we can agree that the acting was really good.
Yes.
Like, there wasn't...
Nobody phoned it in, I thought.
No. The acting was great. The lines were great. I think, you know, it was just... I don't know, maybe too much information, but really liked the characters.
Right.
Obviously, the big people for me were Selma Hayek and Angelina Jolie, because that's who I know.
Right.
Now, you know a lot more of the actors.
Gemma Chan, who was Cersei in this, has already been in the MCU as a minor character in Captain Marvel. So it's easy for you to kind of be like, oh, well, we're just going to put her in as a major character here, because people will kind of forget about that one. In fact, I can't remember, spoiler alert, kind of. I think that character died in that particular movie. Don't quote me on that.
In Captain Marvel.
In Captain Marvel, I'm probably wrong, but either way, it was a minor character, so you just kind of are like, no, most people aren't going to notice it anyway. So you got Richard Madden and Kit Harington from Game of Thrones. Not a Game of Thrones fan, but you kind of throw all of that pedigree into there. That already itself builds an incredible cast.
That's it. Like, we went into this movie thinking, wow, this is going to be incredible because of these people.
And
I don't want to reference something, but it's giving me Wrinkle in Time vibes. Like, you know, where you have this amazing cast and they're really great actors, and you're like,
don't you dare equate this thing to Wrinkle in Time.
I didn't say it was. I didn't.
We'll get there in a second, but I gotta give a shout out to, it's talking about All-Star cast, Lauren Ridloff, the person who can speak, you know, she doesn't have the ability to speak.
Like
that was awesome. I had gotten to know her from the Walking Dead cast. And I love her. I loved her in that show. And here, she just kind of won me over. It's just amazing how someone who can't even speak, you know, kind of wins you over just by the way they. I think that's like incredible acting, you know, expressed with your hands, with your face,
your facial expressions,
and the way you carry yourself, your body language, like that is incredible acting. So great cast, just all-star cast, just from the name of alone. But I think they all did a bang-up job on this. All right, reason you may not like it. I know you got one, so let me hear yours.
Confusion. I don't know any other word to say other than I was confused from literally minute 1 to minute 157. There was no minutes that I was not confused. And the whole beginning, like when it's like this Star Wars type scroll.
That threw me off. I was like,
but
really?
There was
this
no music, and I couldn't figure out who the red guys were and what's a deviant and what's a celestial. It was halfway through the movie before I figured that out. And everybody else is like 12 steps ahead of me. And
normally I look at Jessica during the movies, make sure she's not falling asleep. This time
there was no hope to fall asleep. I was so confused.
Every time normally when I look at Jessica, I see this, like at least for half a second. This is what I saw the entire thing. Like just staring at the thing. I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
And I think I was confused also. Again, please, if you are a Marvel fan, don't take my word for this. Like, this is just me not understanding sci-fi, not understanding Marvel.
Right.
But I think also, because how many Eternals are there? 11? 13?
10. 10? Yes, 10, I believe.
I was confused as to who the leader was, and then who the story was supposed to be about. And then I realized it was kind of about all of them, but I didn't realize like one of them was even there in half the movie. So just confusion.
There's
all
a
around.
lot going on, especially if you're not someone who's big into this just expansive universe stuff. I'll add on top of that, the exposition was probably a little too much. It didn't bother me, but I could see where it would bother other people as well. The explaining of things. There's a lot of explaining that had to happen.
A lot of explaining, but also didn't help you.
Yeah.
So you'd hear it.
No.
And you'd still be like, huh?
It did help you, but I think there was so much being thrown at you. You're just kind of like, whoa, where's Captain America? Where's Spider-Man?
Maybe that's it. Because when that red guy, this is not a spoiler because this is in the trailers, but when that red guy with the 6 eyeballs, I assume those are eyeballs, comes out of nowhere, I was like, who are you? Where did you come from? And what do you have to do with the Eternals? So it was just very confusing.
So that is the reasons that you may not like it from us in our spoiler review. Before we go, though, I want to know...
Spoiler free.
Spoiler free, excuse me.
We didn't spoil anything.
We hope so. I want to know from you your rewatchability factor. 1 to 5, 1 being I will never watch this again, being 5, I gotta go watch this again right now.
So I'm gonna give it a 2.
That's honestly, I thought you were gonna give it a 1.
So I can't give it a 1 because A Wrinkle in Time is
That's
a 1.
right. It's Wrinkle in Time Avengers Endgame is basically what it is.
No, Avengers Endgame's not a 5 for me.
Oh no, there we go. Now you made people mad.
I know. Avengers Endgame is a 4 for me. Anyway, this is a 2 because honestly, I think if I ever had the gumption to watch it again, I'd probably be less confused.
Right.
About halfway through the film, I thought maybe the second time around I would understand more.
Right.
And would enjoy it more. Right. I was so confused the whole time. I couldn't even enjoy it, really. Yeah. So it's just a 2 for me.
I'm going to give it a 4 simply because there is so much to rewatch that I know I missed and things like that. Just because this is not an area of Marvel stuff that I'm very well versed in, simply by that fact alone, it's got to be a 4 because I'm not rushing out to go see it. But if someone asks me, hey, you want to go see Eternals? I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go figure some stuff out again. So, and it was entertaining. Like that's the thing is I didn't lose interest in it. There's just so much going on. But we'll go into greater detail on our movie review channel called Eye to Eye Reviews, which we'll put a link below for that if you want to check that out, where we'll go into spoiler details about that stuff and maybe talk about some things that we couldn't hear. But that's our basic thoughts, reasons to watch, and rewatchability rating for each of us. Pretty fair, I think it was in that part. We want to know from you now in the comment section below what you thought about the movie. Keep it spoiler free though for those that haven't been able to watch it yet. What else should they do before they head off?
If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content.
And until we assemble again,
may the Force be with you.
And we'll see you real soon.
Bye.